let's see here. So
I have a question about the 15 words. Do we have to distribute whatever words we have before the next session, or can we
you
keep
should.
them?
I would prefer you use them.
Okay.
I would
You
prefer
don't
you
want
use them.
us to use them like
a
during
huge
the
dump.
session.
No, it really it ruins it. Well, you no.
During the session, I can distribute points, but not add
Correct.
stuff.
Right.
Okay.
I stress again that this is not a game to see whether you can keep your pool high or not.
Yeah.
That is totally just a feature of the system, and we run with it wherever we are. That's what you play, and it will work out just fine. Actually, it will work out fine for me. That's for sure. Okay, so the yes. All I have to do is inhale, and you need to say something. Let me know.
It's because so far I've only like tried to do things that were like with the words that we place that are very descriptive. But I think I saw from other people that they're adding like stuff to their backstory or something.
You can do that.
So this is also a thing, not necessarily. Okay.
And also developing, for example, anything that happens in play that you want to give more content, like someone becomes your friend, or there's some detail of your relationship with the Kirei, or anything like that.
But are you bound to honor whatever I have written? Like, for
Me?
example.
Absolutely, except there are certain things that you cannot, you have to ask me. So here's a good example.
For my brother, I mean, like, if I write something about my brother, like, what is he like, or stuff.
I would say that there is a point where if I have developed situational material, then it's mine.
Okay.
But if I haven't, then I'm waiting for you.
All right.
Right. So, and also there are things that you might write that might violate things that I know, and then I will have to tell you that won't work. But your room for original content is pretty high.
Okay.
Here's a good example. When you found all those things in all the Dune Reapers leftovers, right? Literally, when you found some valuable things, you could write down, I found, or I have some things, and you might even say, and one of them is a mysterious gem or something like that.
What did I find anyways?
Right. Well, that's what I'm trying to say. It makes most sense in general for you to write it, so I don't have to.
Yeah, definitely.
But if you want anything to be special, you might want to check with me if it makes sense with the setting and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I mostly trust you all to understand what the setting is like. You're not going to find like a laser rifle or something. But if you find some weird radioactive gem or something, or if you find some maybe an item that's valuable to the king in Nibenay, I wouldn't object to that.
Okay.
Right?
I mean, when you said like laser rifle, I immediately thought like Stargate. Yeah, you may find a laser rifle that looks like a scepter, magical scepter.
Well, that's true too. I mean, especially in this kind of science fantasy stuff where nearly anything goes.
Yeah.
But I think I'm making my point. There are things that match the setting, at least in their appearance, and things that don't. So let's see. With any luck, I think we are ready. Typically, I'm not going to provide a lot of detailed things like what's in the creature's pockets, because I figure if you care that much, you can put some words into it, and then we'll know. You see. So that's kind of it's all the same things we ordinarily do in role playing. It just kind of goes like this between the GM and player a little bit.
Should I just write that I found some valuable gems?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah. Do you have enough words for that? Because you already wrote the one about the pickpocketing and stuff.
Oh, never mind.
Okay.
I was thinking about having like an inventory here.
Yeah, I see. Oh, I see. In that case, just say valuable things from the bodies, from the Dune Reapers. That's fine. It's just not specific. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Do we
In
have?
other words, until you put it on your words, it won't be specific. It's just some valuables.
Do we have a eraser? Maybe I can borrow it here. I'm gonna distribute some points.
Ah, yes. Those of you with great big fat pools, feel free to distribute some pluses.
I'm gonna put
There we go.
+1 on allies. Now I know that I have one. So now
Okay.
I'm down to
Okay.
1.
All right.
Tropical fruits.
Everybody, let's start. The work that it takes to get the wagon back to the main road is tough, and the dangers are fairly real,
Present.
right? But nobody was and a number of you are injured or sick or dehydrated, strangely, but some of you are just fine. And there's enough help, it seems, if you're paying attention, from the fact that all of you have been glowed a little bit from this lantern. As I said, it doesn't make you feel better, but you seem to have enough energy to keep going. And like it or not, that proves to be a benefit for purpose of getting everything back to the main road. I was looking at the map and thinking about it. This is probably the outermost point where regular patrols from the city would go, because they want to keep the roads clear and relatively safe. Going up to this pass through this mountain range is probably as far as they would send patrols. So that means that whatever little group of crazed halflings have followed you, they probably saw a patrol and ran off. So it's just safe enough so your group doesn't have to worry about an attack. Most of the beasts avoid this area unless the prey looks particularly juicy or helpless. Now, that means that it is possible to take the wagons back to Nibenay. Now, if we look at this map, one of the crucial features is that there is a cliff here, and above this cliff is, off the map, is the eastern end of the Crescent Forest, which is probably where your little group came from originally.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
And then,
I'm from
you
the
and you are as well,
Crescent
yeah.
Forest
And then above that is the huge mountain range that defines this sheltered area of the world, that provides enough moisture and shadow for the forest to operate at all. But so there's two levels. There's this cliff here that frames the city, and then above it, then there's this huge mountains way back there. So surrounding this, in fact, partly built on top of them, are hot springs. And so they are the source of water that makes the city possible. But most of them are outside the city, and they have, and especially here, where this green stuff is, and they are controlled in districts by powerful families, what they call the noble houses. In fact, that kind of defines a noble house, because it means that you have control over water and that you can't be pushed around. Although there is this sorcerer king, and although the Templars, the wives of the king, are responsible for certain aspects of the city, really, when it comes to the business and getting things done and managing stuff, the noble houses are the main power. So this is called the Mekalot Gate, which would be the logical place to come for you guys. But your group is not going to the Mekalot Gate. Um, some of you are told why, some of you are not. You would be told why, you would probably learn why from the other people in the group. Nobody cares to tell you anything or you anything either. So we, briefly, as you have picked up, as Astra is not in good standing right now. She actually made a very desperate move to go off and get this item. And is worried that, or has good reason to be concerned that if she comes back openly through this gate, that there may be plenty of assassins or some, maybe even an open legal challenge of some kind. Like an internal Templar security problem where we need to ask some questions.
Somebody needs to hand her like
right.
papers.
Yeah, exactly, right. And so this is a bad idea. So instead, you're going to take this road all the way around, which will bring you to this part of the city, to the Reservoir Gate. And this is actually this green stuff is actually a combination of the waters which forms the reservoir. So you should think of, as soon as you move into this area, you're going to be passing through these fields. They're either rice fields or some other grains. There are some pastures of meat lizards and things like that that are being herded. But more and more, you will be encountering teams who will be interested in who you are and what you are doing, crossing this noble house's land. And ordinarily, it would be very inconvenient. So you have left. By the way, as you leave the pass, as you come off the map and down here, that's what the pass looks like when you are on your way out of it. Mm-hmm. So think of yourself as having been in these jagged rocks and ridges for the last couple of sessions, and now you're coming out of it. And here it's still pretty rugged territory. There are, if you're looking down, look at this, think of this as the flat ground and the rice paddies and the little paths or built up causeways that you can ride along. But everywhere are these spires of rock. Sticky. It's very uneven territory. A lot of them aren't even very tall, but there's no way to just ride in a straight line, right? It's very, this looks like just flat green, but it's not. It's still a rocky kind of an environment. And if it were not for these springs, it would just be wasteland. So about the point before you get to this long bridge, which will take you across the reservoir and then to the reservoir gate. The reservoir gate has, before you get there, we're going to be out here for a little while in one of the noble houses territories. Those of you who know the city, so not you and not you, you have heard about this and you know it. This road straight from the reservoir gate running through the reservoir district goes to the palace, and it is elevated, and it is only allowed to be used by the king and the king's soldiers and high-ranking Templars. And so so it's very much unused. Every so often you'll see a procession or something up there. but it's pretty high, elevated above the streets and neighborhoods and things. So that means people using the reservoir gate, which is a lot because water is distributed from here. And that means that once you get through, it'll be very easy to disappear into the tangles of the city. That's the logic. That seems clear for what Athastra wants to do. So now, however, we are proceeding from the east. You have moved into that kind of terrain that I have shown you, and you can understand why a certain amount of security is necessary, because this is like proceeding through the most valuable substance possible.
Is it
These
very
are fields.
green here?
It is not. This water is not
Or the
safe.
vegetation?
Yeah, hold on. The water is not safe until it has been processed. So you will pass great big tanks. You will pass teams of slaves bearing water jugs that proceed from and back to and back from the processing tanks. And so the only plants that grow are those which can tolerate the high mineral content.
Yep.
And so just because this is how science fiction and fantasy work, if you can tolerate toxic chemicals and dangerous minerals and all sorts of things like that, then you must look weird. Which is not necessarily true in real life, but for our purposes.
Do I look weird enough?
What is that?
Do I look weird enough?
You actually might not be the only Thryking to be seen. There may be one or two here and there in teams of security and patrols.
I'm asking because the Kiri is with a pattern that's supposed to mask it in the jungle that's up in the crescent forest. And I'm just wondering if the same color, so probably that there it's green, but is it here green?
Yes, I am sad to say that
No.
the extreme
Okay.
green of the Kire is no longer, it no longer has any camouflage
I
value.
mean, it hasn't
all.
been in
Right.
the places that we were so far
Right,
either, so.
right. So it's been, exactly, so it's quite green. And so distinctly. Now, I think that, let's see if there's any other things that I wanted to say in general. Right. Okay. So, upon coming to a particular area, which is defined by a set of, as I say, causeways, which are these like built up banks that the road runs along. And they're not very tall, but they're distinct enough so that you can travel safely, and you know that if you were to try to navigate your way through the fields or the spires of rock and the springs, there's really no way to make any kind of meaningful progress. And the assistant, I'm trying to find his name, I know I had it.
That's
Right, yeah, hold on, that's Thasstra's assistant. Palik, right. Palik is very nervous and is spending a lot of time checking everything. Spends a lot of time checking weapons, a lot of time checking your health and Jeff's health, a lot of time there's some debate about whether you should be put into a cage. And
I'm gonna be one of the people that says that no, he shouldn't.
And your Kire, who shared a meal, is also going to be not inclined. to help, to let you get put into a cage. So as I said, there was some debate. It doesn't seem to have gone that far.